warm up our math brains today the same way we did yesterday, I'm going to flash up some equations on the board. These are all 10 plus equations, and we are going to have to fill in the missing part. Might be the ones, might be the tens, or it might be the answers. But let's get started. Here we go. 30 plus blank equals 33. What's missing? The ones are missing. So what do we need? A 3. 30 plus 3 equals 33. This is our 10 plus fact. Okay, what about this one? 10 plus 6 equals what? A 10 plus fact. It equals 16. 110, 6. Awesome. And this one? 98 equals blank plus 90. Which part is missing? The ones are missing. So how many ones do we need? 8. 98 equals 8 plus 90. 9 tens, 8. Okay, this one. Blank plus 6 equals 76. What is missing? The tens. And how many tens do we need? We need 7 tens, which is 70. 70 plus 6 equals 76. Good job. This is our last one. Da-da. 60 plus 5 equals what? 6 tens, 5. Is the lovely number 65. 60 plus 5 equals 65. Okay, good job warming up your math brain, Super Scholars. So now we are going to check out what is our new learning target for Tuesday. Here it is. I can use a simpler equation to solve an addition or subtraction problem. So today we are going to still be working with bigger addition and subtraction problems, but we are going to be working in our heads. Our goal today is to solve addition and subtraction problems using mental math. The strategy that we are going to use to do this is by finding a simpler equation. A simpler equation is an equation within our problem that only uses single digits that we can use to get to our answer. I will definitely explain that more, and we're going to have a lot of practice, but that's our goal. To find a simpler equation to solve a problem mentally in our heads. But to remind us where we're going, we are going to look at our place value chart just for one problem to remind ourselves of our skills to be able to determine when to deal with the ones in a problem or when to deal with the tens. Remember, that big difference gets us very different answers. So it's super important, and we're going to use that skill today. So I'm going to pull up my place value chart just to demonstrate and jog our memory real quick. You don't need your place value chart right now. You can have it if you want, but I'm just going to do a quick review. Okay. So here is our place value chart. Can you tell me what number you see on the place value chart? This is 78 on our place value chart. 7 tens, 78, and we're going to subtract 3. If we are going to take 3 away from 78, just a nice little 3, are we going to take it away from the tens or from the ones? In 78 minus 3. We're going to take it away from the ones, since 3 is just 3 ones. So let me do that. 1, 2, 3. I just took away 3 ones from 78. So what number do we have now? What is this equal to? It's 75, because we took away 3 ones. So let me reset real quick. I'm going to add those back, and we're going to look at a different equation. We're still going to have 78, but we are going to take away 30 this time. 78 minus 30. If we're taking away 30, is this going to come from the tens or the ones? The number 30. The tens, because in 30 we know this is 3 tenths. So let me do that. 1, 2, 3. So what number do we have now? I took away 3 tenths, and our number is 48. 4 tens, 8. We had to pay close attention that sometimes we had to take away the ones, 3 ones, and other time we had to take away the tens, 3 tenths. That drastically changed our answer. This attention to detail is going to be required in today's lesson as well. Okay, I'm going to pull back up our PowerPoint, and we're going to take a closer look at these problems. Okay, so here are the 2 problems we just worked with. The only difference is we took away 3 ones versus 3 tenths. If we didn't have a place value chart, we could also solve these problems in our head by finding that simpler equation. Let's take a look. In 78 minus 3, what do you notice between 78 and 75? Only the ones changed. All we did was take away 3 ones from this 8 ones. That was the only place value we were working with. So really, we were only working with one equation. So there is a simpler problem within 78 minus 3 that would allow us to solve this equation. Let's see. We just noticed that all we did was change the ones. So all we focused on was taking 3 away from the 8. So what we truly were doing was that 8 minus the 3 ones equaled 5. We used our knowledge of this equation to solve our bigger problem. We used a place value chart before, but we can do the same thing just in our heads. 8 minus 3 equals 5, so 78 minus 3 equals 75. Because we knew that all we had to change were our ones, so when we subtracted our ones, we got 5, and that fed into our answer. Because our tens place didn't change, so we didn't have to worry about it. So this is our simpler equation that we used to solve our bigger problem. Let's look at the other one we were looking at. In 78 minus 30, we were working with the tens. We had 3 tens to take away. So all we were focused on was the 7 tenths and subtracting 3 to get our 4 tenths. So we were only working with one set of numbers. Our simpler equation we used is we had 7, we subtracted 3, and we got 4. We knew that all we were working with was our tens, and this equation gave us our tens value. 7 minus 3 equals 4, so 78 minus 30 equals 48. We can still solve these big equations in our head by paying attention to the difference between tens and ones, just like we did before. Okay, Super Scholars, I want you to have a whiteboard out or a piece of paper. I want you to practice writing this sentence that we've been using so we can get the language to express our knowledge. So if you have a whiteboard or a piece of paper, that's totally awesome, and just write with me as I go. So we are going to start trying them totally on our own. Let's see. Here is our next one. So this is the equation we're going to get. 51 plus 2. 51 plus 2. At first glance, that might seem like a big equation, but it's not, because we can break it down and find a simpler equation to solve it in our heads. So first up, we're adding 2. Are we going to add to the tens place or the ones place when we're adding 2? The ones place, that's it. So all we have to worry about here is adding our ones together. That will be our simpler equation. So how many ones are we starting with? Just 1. And how many are we adding? 2. So 1 plus 2 equals 3. Simple enough. And since we know that 1 plus 2 equals 3, we can figure out that 51 plus 2 equals what? All we got to do is add our ones. Is 53. Our tens place stayed the same because all we were doing were adding our ones together. But we paid attention to the difference. So we found this simpler equation within our problem to solve it in our heads. Let's look at another one. I'm going to reset. So, what about this equation? We're trying to solve 62 plus 30. So how do we start finding our simpler equation? First up, 30. Are we going to add 30 to the tens or to the ones? We're going to add it to the tens. We're going to add 3 tens to the 6 tens we already have. So what's our simpler equation? We're just working with the tens. We have 6, and we're adding the 3, and what does that equal? 6 plus 3 is 9. 6 plus 3 is 9. So 62 plus 30 will be what? We already figured out our tens, and our ones will just stay the same. So that will be 92. Our 90 from our 9 tenths, and our 2 because we just left our ones alone. So 6 plus 3 equals 9, so 62 plus 30 equals 92. I love this little trick because we can break apart bigger problems and solve them so much quicker. Okay. Okay, let's try some more. Yeah, awesome people. Okay, what about this one? 75 minus 4. We're doing subtraction now. But within 75 minus 4, we're taking away 4 ones. We're taking away 4. Are we going to take this 4 away from the tens or the ones? From the ones, from that 5. So what simpler equation can we use to solve this problem? How many ones are we starting with? 5. And how many are we taking away? 4. So what does that leave us with? 1. All we have is 1, 1. Therefore, 5 minus 4 equals 1. So 75 minus 4 equals, the 10 is going to stay the same. And then we have our 1 that we figured out from our simpler equation. So 75 minus 4 equals 71. And we did this all in our heads just by paying attention to, are we subtracting from the tens or the ones? So this is a strategy we can store up in our toolbox when we come to an equation that we don't know. We can say, oh, I know what I can do. I can find a simpler equation first to solve my bigger problem. And that's what you are going to do for me right now. I'm going to give you 2 equations I would like you to solve on your own. Those are 23 plus 5 and 76 minus 60. Your job right now is to take a video of yourself solving these 2 equations by using a simpler one. So for example, you are going to fill in the sentence. What plus what equals blank? So 23 plus 5 equals blank. You will be able to do this equation in your head by finding the simpler one. Remember, it depends on, are we adding to the ones or the tens? And then your second problem will be subtraction. Blank minus blank equals, so 76 minus 60 equals, again, you'll be able to do this equation in your head by finding the simpler one. Finding that equation depends on, are we subtracting from the tens or the ones? So you're going to use the same language we just practiced to express your findings in your video. So these are the 2 equations that you are going to take a video of yourself solving. You are going to solve these equations in your head using a simpler problem. So we're not using place value charts. You're using your super awesome brain and your knowledge of place value. Okay, Super Scholars, practice talking about math. It's so, so important, and I can't wait to see what you got.